4 months ago, I did something kind of crazy. I picked up a $90,000 funded account for around about $100. So 35 days, just 35 days is all it took me to go from a single crumpled up $100 bill to this $90,000. I don't know if you guys can see that. Now, that was a big problem because the rules, they were super tight. I have to maintain a 3% daily drawdown limit and a 5% overall drawdown limit, which is crazy, but not impossible. We have done it. You can clearly see that. We have smashed the challenge, adding another $90,000 to our 2 million funded SNO goal. That means now we are sitting at a good $90,000 on 10 trade, $100,000 on TTC, $50,000 on funded next, and okay, confession time, right? Minus 25,000 on FTMO. I eventually lost my FTMO account, and that's totally fine. I mean, we win some and we lose some, but even with that, even with that setback, we are sitting pretty at a whooping $240,000 in funded capital. And I have not forgotten that our goal is getting funded $2 million. And I just always say this, that it's consistency over speed. So today I will show you in this video how I eventually passed this 90k account after a long period of trading this account. Alright guys, it's a beautiful Wednesday and I am looking at a super clean chart right now on US30, right? And we are already up 350 pips on this trade. I've already explained the analysis and the reason why we took this trade in the free group and also during the weekly analysis, so I am not going to explain that right now. But what I want to do is I want to walk you through the exact strategy that I'm about to use to scale up on this particular trade on my prop firm account and also in my private account. This trade is already running in the inner circle, and like I said, we're already up plus 300 pips. So if you take a close look at what is happening right now, is we have already hit our technical level on the 4-hour time frame. We are in the trade. Initially our final take profit has been hit on this particular trade, and what's happening now is at a good resistance point, right? The market is showing signs of breaking out. So instead of taking profit at this level, you always want to scale up and add to those positions so that you ride your winning trades and cut your losses short. So you should always keep in mind, I always say that instead of bailing out when the trade hits your final take profit, look and analyze what the market is saying, if it's a chance to actually scale up that position and increase the position size and make even more money, right? That's exactly what we want to do. So sitting at this resistance level, it means that the market is simply looking, it has its eyes on the next big resistance level on the 4-hour time frame. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop over to the 1-hour time frame to look for confirmation, and as you can clearly see that we have broken out of that 1-hour candlestick and we have closed outside of the resistance. That is the only thing that I always look for as confirmation if we break out and close, right? So I'm expecting a little bit of a retest at this exact point, but I'm also very much confident in the trade because we have already broken out, and I'm going to add positions right now at this level, and we're going to let the trade run to see we have to squeeze every single pip, every last pip out of this movement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add positions on this account, and we're going to use this to officially pass this account. Let's just see how this plays out. Alright guys, it's been about 8 hours later, and just look at this. We are clearly broken out and we're heading for the next zone. We've waited just for a few minutes, and you can see how the market just eventually pushed right to that level. We have smashed through all the levels that we were looking forward to, and right now as you can see, I'm actually currently in a mentorship session. So I just wanted to show you guys, I just wanted to jump out and show you this because we have officially hit our $9,000 target, which is 10% off our 90k account. That means we have officially passed the challenge. That's it, we have officially passed the challenge, and that was a crazy and a long journey, guys. Yeah, we didn't rush it. Took some months, we didn't rush it. We were sticking to that 3% daily drawdown and the 5% overall drawdown. That's exactly how we're going to trade this funded account. We're not going to rush it. It doesn't make sense to pass the challenge and then lose the account when you're funded. So the same way I was trading slow and steady, is the same way I'm going to be trading it on, you know, on this funded live account. So now we officially funded with an additional 90k, and that's what I wanted to just show you guys. And as you can see also in the inner circle, we are running around about 600 pips right over there. And after this mentorship session, I'll explain everything in detail. Alright guys, that's a wrap on the mentorship session, but let's just take a serious look at this USD trade. It is heading for the absolute highs, and I'm super excited for that, right? We have broken through a solid resistance. We have broken through a nice solid resistance, and it's not stopping, right? So there's a huge chance that on US30 we might see new highs on US30 in this week or in the coming week. We'll see how it goes during the weekly analysis. That's exactly what I'm eyeing next for US30, those highs. I'm actually definitely looking forward to breaking out of those highs. But as for now, that's about it. That is a fantastic trade that we just put on US30, and I'm super excited. So we're gonna call it a day for now, and I'll still check the charts to see if we can get a good trade. And if we do, I'll definitely come back and share it with you guys. That was about it for that day on US30, and a little moment for humility. I also spotted a really nice, good, you know, a potential trade on gold that didn't end up playing out as I wanted it to, right? So if you look right over here, we had a beautiful breakout, a perfect retest. Everything was looking good on this gold trade. I thought it was an excellent setup, but the market was thinking, you know, it had other plans, right? And after all my analysis and sizing up, we managed to only get one take profit, which is around 60 pips on this trade, before gold eventually turned around and tanked down, taking us out, you know, off this trade. And yes, just like I said, not every trade is a winner, right? That is the crucial part of this game. And that, my friends, brings us to our weekly analysis. We're obviously going to start with the gold chart because that is exactly where we left off. But if you're new, find the channel for the first time, welcome. We trade the NASDAQ over here. If you're returning, welcome back. You already know what's up. Don't forget to hit that like button, turn your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's go straight onto the chart. All right, so I'm just looking at my calendar for this week. We have two crazy news events. That's going to be FOMC on Wednesday and NFP on Friday, because that's going to be the first Friday of the month of August. So this week is going to be super volatile. You always want to make sure that if you're trading a prop firm, it allows you to trade when there is news, or you want to always stay out of the market when there is news, and you don't want to always risk on that very first spike. It's better to wait for the market to spike, and then you can then trade. But let's just go and see what we're looking at. We're going to start off with the gold chart, like I said. So after that drop that happened on gold that I was speaking about, it becomes a really easy chart for us. So what I'm going to do is I'll put this trend line that we had that was guiding us, right? So we had something like this. So this is showing us that gold is indeed on an uptrend, but you can clearly see that gold is failing to break out of this level right here. So it gave us a really equal high at that zone. So what does that mean for us? First of all, we can see that these equal highs all the time act as magnets for the market to eventually come to those levels and wipe out these zones, because of the very fact that there are a lot of orders resting at these levels, right? But as for now, we can clearly see that gold is breaking out of this trend line, and it has to find a point of interest for it to bounce back up. Now, let's not forget that it's very clear that this market is also ranging right now. You can clearly see it's going up, coming back, up, back, up, back, up, and back. So what we want to do is, how do you trade a ranging market in these conditions, right? You always have to wait for a breakout, right? It can either break out of this level or break out to this bottom. Now, just because of that reason, right, I would not have a setup right now on gold, because I know that it has to come probably to complete this range that it's forming, right, to play up and down like this. So this leg has to still come back to these levels, and we can clearly see that happening by the breaking of this trend line. So I wouldn't want to trade a buy at this level saying that this is a trend line, so I'm going to buy, because I know that there's a reason for it to come back, to complete this movement, maybe then go back and break out. For now, we're going to stay out because of this zone, right? If you want to then trade it maybe on lower time frames, you could find a good setup. But as for me, I'll always wait for the selling momentum that is going to be here, or that will step in to first complete and fade out, and then I will want to catch as the buyers go back up. So where is the possible levels for the buyers to step in? For me, I would want to say is going to be right at this zone. Maybe on the lower time frames we'll see something right in this area here, but I am not so sure. So we want to just confirm. So if we break out on of that zone on gold, so we would disrespect these levels, all of these levels, and maybe come to this area here as a level that we can bounce off of and then ride it up to the top. As you can see, this trend line has already been disrespected on the lower time frame. We're going to let the sellers shine on gold for now, and then the buyers, if they step back into these zones, then we can want to come back and join them. But for gold, that's it. I don't see any good setup for me personally right now. Let's go on to US30, which was absolutely a good trade, especially for the last 2 weeks. US30 has been doing absolutely well, right? So what we're going to do is we'll start off on obviously the daily time frame, and you know what I'm looking at on US30, right? So it's almost at the highs. It failed to break out of the highs, and I remember clearly saying this, that when the market was around this place. In fact, we predicted the movement of US30 when it was still around this level, where we broke out of this area, we rode it to this level, we bounced back. I said that we still have to go back to these highs, and I stand by that we still need to break out of these highs, for the simple fact that we've seen this happen a lot of times, right? Just because the bulls have reached the highest peak, that doesn't mean that they're ready to sell or they're ready to head back to the barn, right? So for that reason, I've understood that concept. I really stand with that fact that I think US30 will still break out of those highs and give us new highs, riding them up to the top. Obviously, to then catch that, you'd want a good setup, right? It's not like you're just going to wake up and get a good trade to join this movement, right? That is why we now have this trend line. And on the daily time frame, as it is, the only trade that would get that will be good is after the breakout. On the lower time frames, I did share this again. I was looking at this trade. I wanted to buy this US30 trade at this breakout, but then the market didn't then eventually come into my point of interest, if we can look at it. So I had eyes on this particular setup. I wanted to buy US30 in this area, so I was using this as a point of interest right here, which is what we would do. Right, as you can see, this is a breakout of this area. It went up, it's coming back for a retest, right? So I delayed to act on this movement. I could have caught the retest if I had looked at this level, which is what it respected, but I thought that it would come in, to this area as a proper retest and then bounce back up. We eventually let this trade go, we missed it. So that's exactly what we're going to also be looking at right now on US30. On the lower time frame, still it doesn't really look like anything nice, because we just can't buy randomly at this point. Where are we going to place our stop loss, right? So we're going to have to wait for it to break out of this area and then come back into these zones as a retest. Then we catch the movement to go up, or if it decides to reverse, then obviously this area that I was looking at will still remain my point of interest for me to catch that movement on US30 and to ride it back up to the top. That's already a low time frame. That's the hourly time frame. I wouldn't want to go lower to the 30 minutes and so forth, because that would now be too low for a weekly analysis, right? If you draw a trend line like this, it'll still come and respect it at the exact point of interest that I'm looking at. So on US30, that's it. Let's see what NASDAQ has in store for us. So on NASDAQ, I really was not getting any trades for, this particular week, just for the fact that NASDAQ has gotten to its all-time highs, and it's kind of difficult to predict where it's going to stop, right? We don't really know where we're going to place our take profits if we buy NASDAQ at this, point. Instead of buying the highs like what it looks like right now, what I would suggest we do on NASDAQ is to wait for a pullback, right? If we get a pullback into these areas, not even the first one, right? So if we get a pullback into these areas here, right, we'll have more reason to buy. Let's say we get a pullback into this area, somewhere here, into this zone, this breakout here, and then we can buy it to this next level. And then if we break out of this area, then we can target a few pips to around about that zone, right? So that's about it. I don't think this is complicated at all. It's very straightforward, and it looks like it's a promising week. But then it has a lot of waiting, right? We're going to have to practice patience and waiting for our setups for this particular week. That's about it, guys. On the charts, nothing complicated at all. As usual, we're looking forward to a super great week of obliterating the markets. Now, if you found this breakdown helpful and you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, turn your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. You feel me with that? It's been Tino, and I'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Baby, I just want you to give